Hi, my name's Matsuri and welcome back to my channel where I review, rant and discuss about shows or movies that I've recently seen. And today's review is on Moldal Zushi or Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. Oh my god, I think this is the first time I ever dove completely into something where I actually read the original source material. Yes, this actually was adapted from a novel, and I've read the novel, I read all the manhwa, I watched the donhwa as you can tell, and I also watched the live action version of this series. I fell in love with this story so much that I knocked over all my other reviews that I was thinking of doing it and going to this first because I just wanted to have everyone see this because it's so good. The reason why I got into it was because I watched two reviews, and although funny reason, because so one of the reviews said that both reviews said that there was no as much BL in it. But yeah, one of them said that even though there's not much BL in it, in the end, the two main characters end up getting married. And I was intrigued by that because it was you can get married, same-sex marriages happen in ancient China. That's kind of interesting. So that's actually what drew me into the donhwa. But I stayed because the story is so awesome. It's a really good human drama kind of story, which is why I think everyone should watch it. But yes, also this one is a donhwa, so please do not call it anime, because I feel anime is now a general term for Japanese animation, where donhwa is actually Chinese animation. So I feel it's not right to group it's kind of grouping Asians all together. That's not right, or it's kind of grouping cartoons with anime, and you're no, that's a Western cartoon, so you kind of, you know what I mean? So if you are going to watch any Chinese animation, please make sure to call it a donhwa and not anime. That's my first disclaimer. Second disclaimer before I go into my rundown of the story, I am not Chinese, so I will probably mess up all the names because I'm going with what I can kind of hear from what the voice acting in the donhwa says, and also what I read. So everything I'll probably read as will probably be sounding very Australian. So just please be aware of that and not come for me because, again, not Chinese. But yes, come down the rabbit hole with me with this beautiful story. So here is the rundown of the story. Have you heard? The yearling patriarch finally died. You mean the demonic cultivator, Wei Wuxian? Yes, finally! The dark creative arts has fallen. But how did he die? I heard it was his shitty, Jian Chang, was the one that led the attack. But in the end, Wei Wuxian was killed by the corpses he was controlling. Ha! That's karma for you. And do you know what happened to his body? His corpses seem to have eaten every bit of him. But the fact remains, different sects have tried to summon his soul to end him once and for all. But none of them has succeeded. Well, let's just hope he never comes back. Hey, wake up. What? Oh my god. Are you the devil? Different review. Oh. I am sacrificing my body to you because I can't live like this anymore. I was kicked out of the Jin sect for being gay and called a lunatic, and then I lost my mom, and then I'm getting abused every day by my aunt's family. I can't take it anymore. Man, your life must have sucked. Well, what do you want me to do about it? Help me. Help me with my revenge, and I'll give you my body. Sorry to disappoint, but I'm not that vengeful. You got the wrong guy.
But you're the yearling patriarch, Wei Wuxian.
Yeah. So?
Well, it's too late anyway. I already done the ritual.
Wait, what?
Peace. Catch you later.
Wei Wuxian wakes up to find himself in the body of Mo Xiangyu, a cultivator that was kicked out of the insect for being gay and a lunatic. While trying to figure out what Mo Xiangyu's wishes are, Wei Wuxian finds out the village is under attack by walking corpses, and Mo Xiangyu's aunt has called upon the Lan sect cultivators to exterminate the problem. Having been dead for the past 13 years, Wei Wuxian watches how the new generation of cultivators handle the mission and decides to stick around. All hell breaks loose when they find Mo Xiangyu's cousin is dead and he's missing his left hand. Slowly, one by one, the family members wind up dead, and we find it is the result of the ghost arm looking for its owner. As the power of the ghost arm is too much for the Lan sect disciples, Wei Wuxian uses his demonic powers to reawaken the dead family members to help destroy the ghost arm, though that too was no match for the ghost arm. They are saved by the Lan sect's second young master, Lang Wangji. Lang Wangji was someone from Wei Wuxian's past who tried to stop him from going down the demonic path, and so Wei Wuxian decides to run away as he does not know how to face Lang Wangji. After a day or so, Wei Wuxian ends up on Dunfang Mountains, where he comes face to face with Jiang Qiang, his former best friend and brother-like figure. As Yan Qiang was about to attack Wei Wuxian, he is stopped by Lang Wangji, who decides to take Wei Wuxian with him to the cloud recesses, where the Lan sect reside. We find out that the ghost arm proved to be much more powerful than they thought, and decide the only way to lay it to rest is to find the owner of the arm. So Wei Wuxian sets out to solve the mystery with Lang Wangji, and along the way we find out there might be more to this mystery than it seems. Now, like I said, I love the story. Like, this story has mystery in it, this story has horror elements in it, this story has supernatural and magic elements in it, this has human tragedy in it, so much crying, but so much happiness. And overall, just a really, really romantic story in it. Oh, and it also has comedy. Like, it's really funny as well. Like, it's the first time, like, after I watched the donghua and then read the novel, how it shows how much the animators, the DC May animators, love the story to, like, completely adapt the story and show it on the screen. Like what you read is what you've seen. I mean, with a few few things added in between or taken out, but pretty much the whole human drama element is in there. So the thing that intrigued me about the story was the overall, like, mystery of how this lovable doofus can become this hot man evil dude. Because at the start you're told how the Ealing patriarch was so, like, was doing dark arts and he killed 3,000 people and he went against all these other people. So because he was so dangerous, like, everyone was afraid of him. But then when you actually meet Wei Wuxian, he's just this lovable, like, idiot who's so carefree and a little bit, like, overconfident in what he does, but he also understands that he can be humble at times. So it's kind of like this mystery of how did that become this. It's told in a way where you kind of question, like, what was the right thing to do. Like, because he's the main character, obviously what he does is what we care about and that makes him human. But there's also elements of times when it's like, what is the right choice? Is it to pick pride or moral? The story kind of explores, like, a moment where all the characters do have a moment where they have to decide between pride over moral. So, like, you get a sense of what kind of character, like, what they're thinking, and, like, you probably know what is right or wrong, but sometimes there are choices where even though it's a wrong choice, you have to do it because of certain reasons. And because of that, everyone feels so human. Like, everyone feels so relatable that it draws you in. Like, there's no character, or besides a few, there's no character that you can personally hate because of the choices that they make. They all have some kind of tragic story, tragic option that they choose, and the outcome is what we see in the donwa or in the story. And then there's also the mystery of the ghost arm. Like, how did it get there? Who planted it there? How the hell did Wei Wuxian come back from the dead, kind of thing? Because it's at the moment the donwa's finished on season 2 and they are planning to do a season 3. They haven't explored the whole ghost arm bit yet, so that's why I read the novel, because I really wanted to find out. Like, that's how much I was curious about, like, what is this ghost arm? Like, where did it come from? What is it, kind of thing. So for all you people that do watch the donwa and want to find out, I reckon, yes, go read the novel. It is quite good. There are a few not safe for work scenes, but they're more later in the novel. Just be aware of that. If that makes you uncomfortable, I reckon just wait for the donwa to come out. They say it's next year, but who knows these days. Now, due to Chinese censorship, like I said, there's not a lot of BL moments in this donwa like you would see in like anime. And although like a lot of the times they do go around it by making them like sworn brothers, as in like obviously they're not related, but they're kind of like what I said about Eiji and Ash in Banana Fish. Like, they're really close bond, but like they're kind of like a bromance. Like, they have a special bond kind of thing, and that's how they get away with that. So unless you know or like looking for it, you can't really tell that this one's a BL donwa. But in saying that, in the donwa, it's majority of the first season and most of the second season, it is all about the past, and it shows you, like, it kind of reveals the story of how Wei Wuxian became from the lovable doofus to the hot hunk playing the flute. So majority of that kind of doesn't really have too much romance in there anyway in the novel. Like, you can like subtle hints, but not really. It's mostly in the second half when they do find out what the mystery of the ghost arm is and stuff like that. That's where the romance starts getting bigger, or like all the fluffy goodness is there. So I'm kind of curious about how they're going to go around with that, because I had my thoughts about that for the live action, and I'll do a thing for that next time. So besides that, again, this one is a really good story with horror, but not like, it's kind of gross with blood, but not really, and it just has a lot of like ghosts and like corpses, but it's not horror, if that makes sense. But like, again, the good thing about this is that even though there's like a tragic backstory, there's so much comedy in it that you can enjoy it as it is. Now, this isn't a complaint, this is more just a cultural difference thing, because again, not Chinese, but I got confused a lot of the times with the names, and I feel like I should mention this. I feel like a lot of the reviews should have mentioned this, because when I got into it, it wasn't until like halfway through the donwa I realized who things were. They'll mention like some random name, and I couldn't remember for the life of me who that was until I like read the novel, and then I'm like, oh, right, okay, or like, stuff like that. So I feel like, yeah, so I'm going to mention this because like I said, the reviews that I watched didn't mention this. Again, not complaint, just a cultural thing. But the thing is, they all have 3 names. Well, some of them have 3 names. Like, for example, take Lan Wangji because he's the main one that has 3 names. But pretty much, so you have, I think it's their birth name, which is for him will be Lan Zhang. Lan being his last name and Zhang being his first name, obviously. And then he has his courtesy name, which for some reason in my mind, because I read on, because I didn't know what that was, and I looked at Wikipedia and he said like it's a name that your parents give you or a teacher, and for some reason in my mind I thought, hi class, welcome to your first day at school, so let's get started by taking attendance. Matsuri? Yeah. Your courtesy name's gonna be Mary from now on. What? But I think it means like master or like, you know, someone higher up. So I don't think they do it in the modern era. I don't think so. I mean, you guys might in China, who knows? But I just thought that was funny and I was thinking like that. But so his courtesy name is Lan Wangji. And then he also has a title which is Hangonju. So he has like 3 names that they all kind of like say at different times. And the second thing was like the fact that I don't understand when they call each other these names. Like I understand like the disciples calling Lan Wangji Hangonjun because obviously he's a higher up, you know, teacher, so out of courtesy you have to say his like title name. But I don't understand why they all say their full name, but then again, it does feel weird just to hear Zhang or Wuxiang, although some people do. Like, you know. But it's just, yeah, I don't understand why they say their full names. I also don't understand why, I mean, I kind of do, but I also don't understand why Jiang Chang never calls Wei Wuxiang Wei Ying, which is his birth name, because, you know, they grew up to be like close as brothers, and Jiang Chen is his given name. So, but the fact that he doesn't ever call him Wei Ying is kind of weird to me. Like, I understand later on why he calls him Wei Wuxian because he's kind of like cutting him off there, but he never actually says. Well, he says Wei Ying once in the Donghua, from what I remember. But other than that, he just keeps on calling him Wei Wuxian, and I was just like, but you guys are so close, and you're okay for him to call you your birth name, but you're not gonna call him his birth name. Lastly, there's a few names that look and kind of sound, again, because I can't pick out the names yet. So I was just say they look the same. For example, Nei Ming-jae, who is the older brother, and also Mei Hee-sung. Like, now I know who these 2 are because their name's not that similar now that I look at it. But at the start, when I got into it, I was just like, ugh. And also with Jin Gan-sang and Jin Gan-yao, which is father and son. Like, what? And I understand that because of their family, they have kind of like a name that's close to similar, but the Lan brothers don't, because it's Lan Wangji and Lan Xinchen. Like, that's not close. And then also Jiang Chen and Jiang Yili, they don't have the same-ish name. Like, yeah, I mean, it could be because the first time I was watching it, I didn't really pay attention to the subtitles, or it just kind of like skipped over the names. So maybe I couldn't like read it, and so I didn't know who was. And if you're thinking, why don't you just read the Chinese characters or the kanji? No, because they completely, 1, I can't really read it, and 2, it's pronounced differently, I believe, because I have listened to the Japanese audio version, and the names are completely different, except for Lanzang, which is kind of funny. But yeah, so that's the kind of like gist of the names. So at least you're kind of informed. Hopefully that helps. Now, should you watch this donghua? Yes, come down the rabbit hole with me because this is a really fantastic story that I highly recommend. The animation is really beautiful. I feel like every scenery is like probably hand drawn. Like it looks like a painting. Like that's how beautiful it is. The music is also fantastic because they do use the Chinese instruments, especially because the two main couple, one of them uses a flute and the other one uses a gurquin. Probably pronouncing that wrong, but gurquin. And like they do have like songs that do play those instruments, and it's beautiful. Like everything is beautiful about this donghua. So I'm really excited for the third season coming soon. I have watched the live adaptation of this and I do have my thoughts, so I will probably do a rant on it, but I'm not too sure yet. And I do have a few things about this series, but I don't want to bombard everyone with this, so I'll see how that goes. Because I don't think everyone's on board with me with this, but until you guys are. But yes, I will put a link of the donghua in the description because it actually is on YouTube and it does have subtitles, but you have to press the CC on the screen for that, so just remember to press that or it won't show up for you. So just be aware that the donghwas do have a commercial for Corona ice cream, so they will kind of like suddenly stop and have a random ad. Oh, there's also an ad for traveling as well, like a travel app, which is kind of funny because they sell it like there's no subtitles for that, so I don't actually know what they're saying, but it's kind of funny to see them suddenly have ice cream or suddenly deciding to go on a trip or something. But yes, that's it from me. Please leave me a comment. Have you seen it before? If you have, who is your favorite character, or who's your least favorite character, or who's the character that you think should change, like I thought Yan-chan should change as well? Or has this review make you want to watch it because of how much I'm passionate about this? But yes, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe for more reviews and rants coming soon. Give me a like if you can, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.